Hi there. If you're watching this on YouTube, or you're wanting to watch any of my content on my channel, or both for that matter, I would strongly recommend hitting the subscribe button and comment and like on any videos if you may wish, because this is a general audience channel. Also, this video is not made for kids, it is for older fans and adults alike. So please sit back and enjoy the video. Thomas, Percy, Jinty, and Pug. Written and told by Julyleonard. Ever since Duck left the yard to run his own branch line, the Little Western, the big engines were left to arrange their own trains once again. More people eager to travel on the Fat Controller's railway, more ships coming to the harbors, trucks and coaches complaining as usual. Donald and Douglas sometimes offered to shunt, but they also had work on the branch lines as well, and it became very apparent on one particular day, after James's incident with a signal. The Fat Controller quickly sized up the situation. "I understand your feelings, given that the no-shunting nonsense has subsided," he began, "but I haven't forgotten to bring in a new shunting engine for Knapford to sort your trains. It should be arriving from the mainland first thing in the morning." "Oh, yes, sir. Thank you, sir," exclaimed the engines in chorus. But next morning, the Fat Controller was surprised to see that 2 tank engines had arrived when only one had been expected. "What are your names?" he asked. "Jinty and Pug, sir," the engines replied in chorus. "We've been here before years ago, remember?" "Ah, yes, of course," came the reply. "Now one of you two," he went on, "is playing truant. I shall find out and send one home. But until then, you two will be shunting at Knapford Station." Jinty and Pug went off together and enjoyed themselves throughout the day, arranging coaches and hurrying about the yards with trucks alike. The big engines didn't say much, but they did appreciate that there were 2 engines to sort their trains again. Later that day, Jinty and Pug were resting nearest the big station when they saw a certain green saddle tank engine puffing by with some stone trucks from Thomas's branch line. They recognized who it was. "Hello," said Percy, puzzled, as he shunted his trucks in a siding. "I know you two. You two look familiar." "Yes," replied Jinty. "It's us, Jinty and Pug," added Pug. "You're Percy, aren't you?" "Yes," Percy replied happily. "It's been a very long time." Years ago, whilst the steam team was still being branded as the 8 famous engines, Percy would sometimes take stone trucks to Barren Furnace at the other end of the line. There he would meet Jinty and Pug and 4 more tank engines named Webster, Ewan, Jason, and Horace from the other railway, as he would go on to tell stories about his adventures. They eventually became friends after that. "What are you two doing here?" Jinty and Pug explained that they're in danger of being scrapped because of the modernization plans on the other railway, and were brought in to help out with the shunting at Knapford due to the extra workload that the big engines have been given lately. "And on top of it all," finished Pug sadly, "the Fat Controller is planning to send one of us back." "Oh dear, I'm sorry to hear that," replied Percy in shock. I hope things'll turn out better for you two. And with that, he puffed away back to the branch line. At the end of the day, Jinty and Pug glanced at each other nervously. Neither wanted to stay without the other, so they said so. "What is to be done?" wondered Pug. "Well," said Jinty, "each one would be as good as the other. Then he'll have to keep us both." So their plan was good. The next day, the yard foreman came to see the two engines. "There's a small goods train that's waiting to be taken to Farquhar Station," he said. "I would like one of you two to take it, please." "Excuse me, sir," cut in Pug. "I can take it. Afterwards, can I swap Thomas for today?" "Certainly," the foreman replied, "if the Fat Controller agrees." And so it was arranged. After Pug took his trucks to Farquhar Station, Thomas arrived at Knapford to assist Jinty. "So, Thomas," said Jinty cheekily, "come to smash more buffers, I suppose?" and laughed. But Thomas, on the other hand, was cross and was quick to defend himself. "I was a different engine back then, but that doesn't mean that the buffers incident back at Farquhar is funny." "Well, you weren't very careful then," retorted Jinty. "You were just going on about yourself and how famous you were in some books, and I think you deserved it." "Did not," Thomas snapped. "If you're going to keep up with that joke, one day it'll come back to you one of these days." But unbeknown to Thomas, Jinty would let that joke come back to him sooner rather than later. Later that day, Jinty, on the inside, was still worried about him and Pug being sent away. He was so worried sick that he didn't see that he was heading for a set of newly painted buffers with a bucket of dark blue paint on top until it was too late. Crash! Splash! The buffers broke. Jinty's front was badly bent and he was partially covered in dark blue paint. Thomas came by to pull Jinty back onto the rails and laughed when he saw him. "Well, well, well, Jinty," he laughed. "What was that you said about smashing buffers?" But there was worse to come. "Jinty, I'm very displeased with you. I brought you and Pug here to help out with shunting at Knapford, not to tease Thomas about his buffers incident," thundered the Fat Controller. "I'm sorry, sir," sighed Jinty. "Maybe I was clumsy before I crashed and splattered." "I see. Well, I should think so too," went on the Fat Controller. "You upset my arrangements. Now Percy will have to assist Pug with the shunting for the time being, while you have yourself cleaned and your front end mended." When Jinty came back from the works, he was starting to regret his mockery towards Thomas, and the two made amends. "Thomas, I'm sorry for teasing you and laughing at your buffers incident back at Farquhar in 1956, sighed Jinty sadly. "I was just jealous because you were famous in that certain book series of yours." "That's all right," replied Thomas, "and I'm sorry for being so cross." And with that, the two engines became friends. But there was still one problem. One of the two tank engines had to be sent away back to the mainland. They looked glum. "He'll send us away for sure, Jinty," said Pug. "I'm thinking you're right there, Pug," Jinty replied. "The luck's been against us. An engine don't know what to do for the best." "Besides, we're good friends," added Pug. "But neither of us wish to be separated from another." Thomas and Percy had heard everything and looked very downcasted. Something had to be done, but none knew what, as the Fat Controller would be returning from a holiday within a few days. Suddenly, Thomas had an idea. "Say, Percy, do you remember the deputation you had with Donald and Douglas years ago?" "Yes. Why?" Percy asked. "Well, I'll bet we'll do the same to Jinty and Pug," replied Thomas. "While we're at it, we can have Jinty and Pug take turns at shunting and branch line trains as well." "That's a great idea, Thomas," beamed Percy. For the next few days, the 4 tank engines swapped jobs with one another, shunting at Knapford Station and branch line trains. Eventually, the Fat Controller returned. "Hello, Thomas, Percy. It's nice to be back." Thomas and Percy jumped and glanced at each other nervously from side to side. "Oh, yes, sir. It is, sir."
"You two look nervous. What's the matter?"
"Please, sir," said Thomas, "Jinty Pug said that if you send them away, they'll be turned into scrap." "Yes, sir," replied Percy. "They're nice engines, sir. Please don't send them away."
"Thank you, Thomas and Percy. That will do."
He walked away. The next day he gathered most of his engines at Timoth's sheds.
"I had a deputation yesterday," he said. "I understand your feelings, but I do not approve of interference."
He paused impressively.
"Jinty and Pug, I hear that your work at Knapford Yards was good. What color paint would you like?"
"Just black, please," replied Jinty. "And with our old LMS lettering and numbers regained, please," added Pug. "Also, we wish to sleep at Knapford's sheds."
"Very well," the Fat Controller replied. "But your names will be painted on you. We'll have no more mistakes."
"Thank you, sir," said Pug. "Does this mean that the both of us—" Jinty paused. The Fat Controller smiled.
"It means—"
But the rest of his speech was drowned in a delighted chorus of cheers and whistles, as Jinty and Pug, the tank engine duo, were here to stay. Nowadays, Jinty and Pug both work as pilot engines at Knapford Station, shunting trucks and coaches alike as ducks, but sometimes pull trains on special occasions every now and then. And so for the tank engine duo, Knapford Sheds on Sodor will always be their home.